This year, the narcissist will pay the price for belittling you with painful regret. How many times have you been made to feel small by someone who couldn't appreciate your worth? Have you been belittled, criticized, and rejected by someone who should have cared for you? If you've ever been in a relationship with a narcissist, you know how painful it can be to be constantly diminished, used, and discarded. But here's something powerful you need to hear. This year, the narcissist will pay the price for belittling you, and that price will come in the form of painful regret. In this video, we'll explore why the narcissist's cruel treatment of you is bound to catch up with them. Their need to tear you down, make you doubt yourself, and strip you of your confidence will ultimately lead to their downfall. Narcissists may think they can get away with their manipulation and control forever, but the truth is, the universe has a way of balancing the scales. And this year, that balance will come in a way they never saw coming. We'll break down why they will regret the way they treated you, and why their actions will lead them to a place of regret they cannot escape. So, make sure to stick around until the end of this video. We're diving deep into the psyche of the narcissist and how their behavior will eventually backfire. But before we begin, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more content, and share it with anyone who might need to hear this. Let's get started. Let's dive deeper into why the narcissist will inevitably face the consequences of belittling you this year. Narcissists thrive on control and manipulation, using their calculated tactics to dominate and intimidate others. Their relentless need for validation drives them to tear down those around them, all to prop up their fragile sense of superiority. However, there's always a limit to how far they can push people. When their manipulations are uncovered, their lies exposed, or their support system starts crumbling, they are left standing in a precarious and vulnerable position they never anticipated. At their core, the narcissist's inflated ego is nothing more than a shield hiding deep insecurities and unresolved fears. They carry a gnawing emptiness within, which they constantly try to fill with adoration, attention, and control. Their grandiose behavior is a desperate attempt to cover up their inner vulnerability. You were never just another pawn in their game. You were someone who could see the truth behind the mask, someone who could recognize the hollow foundation of their seemingly untouchable facade. That insight made you dangerous in their eyes. The narcissist thrives where their victims are blind to their manipulation, but your clarity and awareness disrupted their carefully constructed narrative. It unnerved them, so they resorted to their default strategy, belittling you. They tried to diminish your sense of self, making you question your worth and your significance. Through subtle digs, cruel words, or dismissive actions, they sought to make you feel small enough to be controlled. Yet, their treatment of you was never about who you are. It was always about their internal chaos. The way they treated you revealed more about their character than it ever did about your value. By attempting to break you, they were projecting their own shattered sense of self onto you. What they feared most was not your strength, but the mirror you held up to their inadequacies. When you decided enough was enough, everything began to change. By walking away, you shattered their illusion of power. When you stopped feeding their endless need for validation, you took away the lifeline they depended on. Your decision to prioritize your peace, self-worth, and boundaries left them in disarray. Narcissists are accustomed to their victims remaining entangled in their web of manipulation. They believe they can always tighten their grip, pull you back in, and reassert their dominance. But you broke the cycle. You defied their expectations, and that's something they cannot easily recover from. This year will mark a turning point, not just for you but for the narcissist as well. They will start to see the limits of their strategies. The manipulative tactics they'd relied on for so long will begin to fail them. Their ability to charm, deceive, or coerce others into submission will diminish as more people recognize their true nature. Narcissists depend on a world where their behavior goes unnoticed or unchallenged, but that world is fading. Society is becoming increasingly aware of the dynamics of narcissism, and with awareness comes empowerment. The narcissist's inflated ego, built on years of lies, deceit, and exploitation, cannot withstand the scrutiny of the truth. The reckoning they face won't just be external, it will be internal as well. Their fragile sense of superiority, already riddled with cracks, will start to crumble as their control slips through their fingers. They spent years crafting an image of invincibility, but deep down, they've always feared the moment when it all falls apart. This year, that moment will arrive. The people they've belittled, manipulated, and dismissed will no longer tolerate their behavior. Their victims are waking up, reclaiming their power, and refusing to play by the narcissist's rules. When the narcissist realizes they've alienated the very people who once stood by them, they will be forced to confront a reality they've worked tirelessly to avoid. The truth will hit them hard, stripping away the illusions they've clung to. The consequences they face won't just be about losing control over others. They'll also be about losing the false sense of self they've so desperately tried to maintain. The narcissist's world is built on a shaky foundation of lies and manipulation, and this year, that foundation will begin to collapse. What they failed to understand is that you were never their source of power to exploit or their puppet to control. You were a reminder of their inability to truly connect, to genuinely love, and to respect others. By walking away, you show them the one thing they fear the most, someone who cannot be broken by their games. And that strength will continue to shine as they grapple with the fallout of their actions. This year will be a lesson for the narcissist, one they cannot escape. The regret they will feel will run deep, cutting to the very core of their being. It won't be a fleeting emotion or a momentary pang of guilt. It will be a heavy and enduring burden that they will carry for the rest of their lives. They will come to the painful realization that they pushed away the one person who genuinely cared for them, someone who saw beyond their facade and offered them true compassion and understanding. The weight of their actions will begin to dawn on them, not because they suddenly gain clarity about your worth, but because they will come to understand the void left in their life without you. The absence of your kindness, your strength, and your unwavering support will leave them hollow. They will regret how they treated you, but this regret will not stem from a place of growth or enlightenment. Instead, it will be rooted in their self-centered realization that without you, they are left with no one. Over time, their ability to manipulate and control those around them will begin to falter. The charm they once relied on to lure others in will lose its effectiveness. The lies they spun so effortlessly will no longer hold the same power. One by one, the people they once surrounded themselves with will start to see the truth, distancing themselves from the narcissist's toxicity. And as the walls close in around them, the narcissist will be forced to confront the consequences of their own actions. The realization that they are the architects of their own misery will hit them hard. This painful awareness will linger, haunting them with the knowledge of the opportunities they squandered and the relationships they destroyed. The regret they feel will not only be overwhelming, but inescapable, a constant reminder of the cost of their behavior. It's essential to recognize that narcissists are rarely capable of admitting fault or taking responsibility for their actions. Their entire persona is built on deflecting blame, shifting accountability, and convincing others to shoulder the weight of their failures. Even as they grapple with the consequences of their toxic behavior, they will fight against the urge to acknowledge their role in their downfall. They may continue to paint themselves as the victim, creating narratives that absolve them of responsibility. However, deep down, Buried beneath layers of denial and defensiveness, they will know the truth. They will know that their cruelty, their relentless need to belittle and diminish others, and their insatiable thirst for control drove you, and everyone else, away. The people who once believed their lies and supported their image will begin to see through the cracks in their carefully constructed facade. As their manipulative tactics are exposed, their reputation will start to crumble. The admiration and trust they once took for granted will vanish, replaced by skepticism and avoidance. They will find themselves increasingly isolated, surrounded only by the echoes of their past mistakes. In those moments of silence, when there is no one left to blame, they will confront the magnitude of their regret. They will realize that the price they paid for their toxic behavior was far greater than they ever anticipated. It will be a harsh, sobering truth that no amount of deflection can erase. Their regret will not manifest in ways you might expect. It won't come with a heartfelt apology or a sudden acknowledgement of their wrongdoings. Narcissists are not wired to offer genuine remorse or to seek redemption through honest accountability. Instead, their regret will show itself in other ways, through loneliness, through failed relationships, and through the endless cycle of dissatisfaction that plagues their lives. They will try to fill the void left by your absence with new people, new opportunities, and new distractions, but none of it will ever measure up. The emptiness they feel will only grow deeper as they realize that no one else will tolerate their behavior the way you did. Every failed attempt to connect with others will serve as a painful reminder of what they lost. Their regret will intensify with each lost opportunity, each burned bridge, and each moment of isolation. They will long for the stability and understanding you provided, even if they never admit it out loud. No matter how much they try to move forward, they will always carry the memory of the one person they could never replace. Your strength, your empathy, and your unwavering support will linger in their mind, a constant reminder of what they let slip away. This regret will not just be a passing emotion. It will be a defining aspect of their existence, a shadow that follows them wherever they go. Thank you for joining me in today's video. I hope that this message has brought you some clarity and strength. If you've ever been belittled, discarded, or manipulated by a narcissist, know that you are not alone, and the narcissist will pay the price for the way they treated you. They may never admit it, but their actions will catch up with them, and the pain they caused you will eventually come back to haunt them. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Sharing your story and spreading awareness about narcissism is crucial, and together, we can help others find their strength and break free from toxic relationships. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
You will never find peace in a home with a narcissist. Hello, everyone. Welcome back, and thank you for tuning in today. If you're here, you might be seeking answers to a very personal and difficult question. Why is it that peace seems so unattainable in your home when living with a narcissist? It's a question many struggle with, and today, we're going to dig deep into understanding the dynamics at play. So, whether you're someone who suspects they're dealing with a narcissist or you're just trying to make sense of ongoing conflict in your life, this conversation is for you. Let's get into it. Living with a narcissist is like being trapped in a constant emotional storm. A storm that you never really asked for, yet you're continually swept up in. Narcissism, in its essence, is more than just selfishness or a mere trait of arrogance. It's a deeply ingrained personality disorder that affects not just the narcissist, but everyone around them, especially those closest to them. But here's the key thing to understand: the lack of peace isn't because you're doing something wrong. It's a direct result of how narcissism operates within relationships, particularly in the domestic sphere. At the core of narcissism is a pathological need for control. Narcissists thrive on creating an environment where they are the center of attention, the arbiter of all decisions, and the source of validation. In a healthy home, peace comes from mutual respect, understanding, and a shared sense of responsibility. But in a narcissist's home, there's no room for that balance. Everything revolves around maintaining their sense of superiority, their fragile ego, and their constant need for admiration. One of the most damaging aspects of living with a narcissist is their manipulation of reality. This goes beyond simple lies. It often involves gaslighting, where they distort facts, deny events, or shift blame in such a way that it leaves you doubting your own sense of truth. When you can't even trust your own perception of reality, how can you possibly feel at peace? Imagine constantly questioning if you're overreacting, if you're imagining things, or if maybe, just maybe, you are the problem. This is the emotional chaos a narcissist thrives on. They create an atmosphere where you're always walking on eggshells, trying to predict their next move, trying to avoid triggering their wrath or disappointment. Narcissists are also notorious for their lack of empathy. It's not that they don't care about your emotions, it's that they can't. The emotional connections that bring people together, the understanding and support that form the foundation of any peaceful home, are absent with a narcissist. This lack of empathy creates a situation where your feelings, your needs, and your well-being are constantly pushed aside for the narcissist's desires. You might find yourself bending over backward to accommodate them, but no matter how much you give, it's never enough. This one-sided emotional investment is exhausting, leaving you drained, frustrated, and, ultimately, robbed of any sense of peace. In many ways, narcissists view relationships not as partnerships, but as tools for self-aggrandizement. They may show love and affection, but it's almost always conditional. As long as you're feeding their ego, giving them attention, and aligning with their narrative, things might seem calm. But the moment you assert your own needs, or challenge them in any way, the dynamic shifts. A narcissist will often react with anger, passive-aggressive behavior, or outright cruelty. They cannot tolerate anything that disrupts their carefully curated image or sense of superiority. This brings us to the concept of emotional manipulation. Narcissists are masters of using guilt, shame, and fear to control those around them. They might guilt you into believing that you're the reason for the conflict, or they might instill fear by threatening to withdraw their affection or support if you don't comply with their demands. Over time, this can create a toxic cycle where you're constantly compromising your own happiness and mental well-being in an attempt to maintain some semblance of harmony. But the reality is, in a home ruled by a narcissist, peace is an illusion. No matter how hard you try, it always feels just out of reach. Now, let's talk about the impact on mental health. The stress of living with a narcissist can have serious psychological consequences. You might experience anxiety, depression, or even symptoms of PTSD from the constant emotional abuse and manipulation. It's common to feel isolated, especially when the narcissist has systematically cut you off from friends, family, or any external support system. They often do this because the more isolated you are, the more control they have over you. You might find yourself second-guessing decisions, feeling trapped, and constantly questioning your self-worth. One of the more insidious tactics narcissists use is triangulation. This is when they bring a third party into the dynamic. Maybe it's another family member, a friend, or even someone at work. They'll compare you to this person, praising them while subtly or overtly putting you down. It creates a sense of competition, insecurity, and jealousy, which further undermines your peace. You're left feeling inadequate, like no matter what you do, you'll never be good enough. This is just another way they exert control and keep you off balance. And let's not forget the narcissist's unpredictability. One day they might shower you with affection, making you feel like the most important person in the world. The next day, they might completely withdraw, ignore you, or lash out in anger. This emotional roller coaster is not only exhausting but creates an environment where peace is impossible. You're always bracing yourself for the next outburst, the next manipulation, the next round of emotional turmoil. The tragedy is that many people in these situations hold on to the hope that things will get better, that the narcissist will change. But narcissism is a deeply rooted personality disorder, and without intensive therapy, and even then, it's a long shot, the chances of a narcissist fundamentally changing are slim. They may offer brief periods of calm or moments of apparent self-awareness, but these are often just ploys to draw you back in, to re-establish their control over you. It's a cycle that repeats over and over again. You might have even tried reasoning with them, explaining how their behavior is affecting you, hoping that if they just understood, they would change. But here's the painful truth. Narcissists don't see a problem with their behavior. In their eyes, they are always right, and anyone who challenges them is wrong. They are experts at deflecting blame and turning the tables, making you feel like you're the one who needs to change. This is why living with a narcissist can feel so defeating. No matter how hard you try, no matter how much you give, it's never enough to create a peaceful, healthy environment. If you're living with a narcissist, you may have reached the point where you're wondering if peace is even possible. And in all honesty, peace is not something you can find in a home with a narcissist, not in the way you might hope. The constant manipulation, emotional abuse, and lack of empathy create an environment where peace simply cannot flourish. It's important to recognize that this isn't a failing on your part. The dynamics of living with a narcissist are inherently disruptive and damaging. For many, the only way to truly find peace is to remove themselves from the situation. This can be incredibly difficult, especially if you're financially or emotionally dependent on the narcissist. But there are resources and support systems out there, friends, family, and professionals who can help guide you through the process of breaking free. Because while you may never find peace in a home with a narcissist, you can absolutely find peace outside of it. It's about reclaiming your sense of self, your dignity, and your right to live a life free from manipulation and emotional turmoil. In the end, the key to finding peace is understanding that it's not something you can achieve through appeasement or compromise with a narcissist. It's something you have to claim for yourself, often by stepping away from the toxic environment they've created. It's a difficult journey, but one that ultimately leads to freedom, healing, and the possibility of peace. Thank you so much for being here today and for listening. This is a heavy topic, but it's an important one to talk about because too many people feel trapped in these situations. Remember, you deserve peace, you deserve respect, and you deserve a life free from the emotional chaos a narcissist brings. If this resonated with you, if you're struggling with these issues, I encourage you to seek support. It's out there, and you don't have to go through this alone. Thank you again for watching, and take care of yourselves. Until next time.
This year, the narcissist will pay the price for belittling you